Today, on this session, in this very short session, we will talk about cyber threats and cybercrime and how Liferay can help you to mitigate those. So if you are on this webinar, probably I don't tell you that cybercrime is actually becoming bigger and bigger every year. There has been a lot of breaches in the recent months in the UK. They are all over the press, and we are reading and learning more and more about those. The cybercrime will cost $10.5 trillion in the world, which is it's a huge amount. It can actually be measured against big economies in the world. So the defense is addressing that by actually a growing cybersecurity market. It continuously grows. The cybersecurity spending is projected to increase every single year by billions of dollars. So Liferay has been working with huge vendors like Palo Alto and Rapid7 to make sure that we are protecting our customers really well. When I started to prepare for this webinar, I really wanted to look into the UK cyber landscape. And I reviewed the UK Security Breaches Survey 2025, and it contained some really useful and important information about large businesses who are usually our customers. So several of them, almost everyone, reported phishing and impersonation. And then the next three categories were malware, DDoS, denial of service, and then ransomware attacks. What was really surprising and interesting for me, but we are also seeing with our customers as well, is that almost a third of the customers see attacks weekly or even more frequently. We at Liferay, we are a digital experience platform company. We are providing you services on the web. So the most important threat for us is usually the DOS, the denial of service attacks. When I started my career, it was 25 years ago, the DOS attacks denial of service attacks were really simple. The attackers sent a lot of requests to a website, and then they could take it down because the network couldn't take it. In nowadays world, the hyperscalers, the big cloud companies have enough bandwidth, and then we have the necessary tools even in the open source world to protect against these threats. So as usual, the attackers have evolved. So from a regular denial of service scenario, we have moved on to the distributed denial of service attacks, so the DDoS age. So what we have seen like 5 years ago and 10 years ago is that the attackers collected zombie networks. And then these zombies are basically tools which are running a malware or a specialized backdoor which the attacker have planted. And then basically what happens is that the attacker talks to the controller, and then the controller talks to these zombies, and the zombies will connect to the victim website at the very same time. The hard part about this is that these zombies are everyday devices. They are home computers, they are unpatched routers, they are toothbrushes. They are everywhere. And it's super hard to see and separate the requests from the real ones. So it's not easy to figure out where the attack is coming from. And what has recently changed is that on the dark web, it became easier and easier to purchase these zombie networks. So what happens in today's attacks is the attacker is not just coming with a single network. They have like 3 controllers, and they are coming at the same time with 3 different strategies, with 3 different tools, and attacking the website. So what happens in this use case is that we have some protections available. We have protections for our customers, and then we can block these attacks as well. And what is new, especially in this geopolitical era, is that the attacker has another set of services or zombie networks coming in. So the defense is becoming harder and harder for these attacks, And I would like to show you some examples which we have actually firsthand seen. So one is an utilities company DDoS attack. It was a utilities company which we protected. There were 23,000 bots, like zombies, attacking, and they were using 11 different tools to attack the site. The DOS attack went up to 1 million requests per second. It's super important that in the denial of service world, there are not just the very well crafted requests, but the attackers are actually sending requests which are not crafted well enough, and then they could keep a lot of channels open and things like that. For those attacks, we are not even counting them. We are just counting here those attack requests, which are seemingly valid, and these are going up to 1 million requests per second. For this attack, we had a machine learning system in place, and the anomaly detection have identified a rule. Basically, it identified that a new tool is spending way too many requests to the same URL of the site. So we could actually block the exact tool, and then the site could go back to normal. What was interesting about this attack is that for this attack, we had 6 times more logs than all other customers combined. So just to give you an idea about the size of this attack. There was another one which had even more volume. It was almost 1 billion requests in 2 hours. Basically, it went up to 2 million requests, so it was double the size. And in this case, the security operations team have identified the tools and blocked the site, and it went back to normal. In this case, the Russian cyber army actually said that they were responsible for the attack, and we actually provided information for the government of this critical infrastructure for this attack, but we have been successfully helping the customer to protect them. So the learning about these DDoS attacks and what we are seeing nowadays is that machine learning is a key. The attackers have several botnets and they can switch strategies. Recently we had a DDoS attack where the attacker was switching tactics between 4 and 6 times. So if only humans are responding to this, then it will mean a very long response time. With the machine learning, you can actually forecast when the requests are ramping up from the zombies, and you can block even before the attack is actually taking the site down. We have also known that usually these botnets have known IP addresses, like bad actor IP addresses, and those can actually catch 10 to 20% of the requests, which means that this amount we know, and then the requests don't even reach our customers' solutions, so they actually don't cause any harm. For DDoS protection, one of the key and basic things, and a lot of customers really miss, is proper CDN configuration. So the cheaper the resource in CPU and memory, which can serve your requests, the better your protection is. At Liferay, we rarely recommend you to properly configure the CDN, even configure page caching on CDN if it's possible for your public website use cases, because in those cases, Google's or your provider's edge network will solve the content, and it won't hurt your DXP instances, and then you won't need to be able to defend there, where the rendering is a super expensive method compared to a cache. And then the last thing is that rate limiting and rate bands are always recommended and always important, especially against unsophisticated actors, because in those cases, we can easily block them automatically, even actually without noticing things. So for our customers, or actually for the general public, we have wrote a blog entry. So if you are interested, I would like you to recommend Google this title. This is a screenshot from that page, and here we are collecting like 5 points which are helping you to defend yourself. However, we have recognized that not all of our customers have a security team or experience or the time to actually protect themselves. So for them, we have developed a premium security package where we are actually sharing the knowledge, information, and then the work with the customers. So first of all, this premium security package contains the machine learning based DDoS protection. We are using Google Cloud's enterprise tools, and this enables us to automatically detect patterns, notify our security operations team early, and then we can also automatically block requests from coming in. We have a 24/7 on-duty incident management team available who are monitoring the site, and they usually are responding like super fast in like sometimes 2 to 3 seconds, even to a downtime. Of course, we don't guarantee it in the SLA, but they are super fast in responding. And then if they need, they are following the playbooks, but they are calling in 24/7 available SREs or the security operations team members to manage the DDoS attacks for our customers. For some DDoS attacks, the solution is to scale up the DXP resources. And because of that, we didn't want our customers to pay the extra, and we didn't want to have a debate. So we are including a scaling insurance for our customers. So under DDoS attack, we would be taking the cost of scaling up the DXP instances. And we also have two parts of vulnerability notifications and report processing, but I will talk a little bit more about them later. So again, just to recap from the DDoS protection and go into details, besides the machine learning and then the incident management, we are using fingerprinting technologies to help the customers. And with this, we have been able to completely separate the attacker traffic from the real traffic. So the site can always go back to normal. Then we are actually calling you. So if you are purchasing this package, then we are providing you consultancy. We are discussing how your website looks like, what is the threat level, and who you want to protect your site against. And then what we are doing is that we are preparing a recommendation on how to set up rate limits, potentially blocking some regions or some networks to make sure that you are always protected. As DDoS protection is actually fighting against criminals who don't follow the laws, it's important to note that no protection is perfect. So it might still happen that your site go down for a few minutes, even if you have this package. But with this package, we will have the ability to react and help you. So in case the attackers came up with a new tool or they found a new strategy, in these cases, we would do a full root cause analysis and provide it for you. And then we will share with you how we can protect you or how you need to enhance the Liferay DXP configuration or how the partner need to do that in order to protect from these future attacks. We also purchase for these packages the threat intelligence tools, so we can actually proactively protect your site. In this package, as a very last resort, we can introduce reCAPTCHA. However, it has some limitations, so we are only using it during the most critical attacks, and we didn't need to use it too many times, luckily, because it has some data privacy concerns because of GDPR, for example. And then also it's super expensive to run it all the times, and it is also harmful for the bots. For example, the AI scraping bots, and different customers would like to share data with those bots in different levels. So I have been talking about DOS, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about the other two categories where we can actually help our customers. Regarding the phishing and the impersonation, I really recommend you to look through our security configuration and authentication guidelines, and especially focusing on the multi-factor authentication pieces. But right now, this webinar is about the network protection at most. So regarding the malware and ransomware areas, what can you do to prevent those? So here we have a self-service way for our customers to actually follow and understand their vulnerability landscape in Liferay products. So if you are worried about what vulnerabilities you have, first of all, there's a subscription on the customer portal where you can subscribe for the critical notifications. But if you would like to learn about the lower severity vulnerabilities, then you can go up to this Liferay security reports page on the customer portal, and you can find information for these. For this screenshot, we have actually filtered for the false positives, so it's not full of false positives. I just didn't want to leak any internal information throughout this webinar, which is, internal for our customers. So I would really recommend you to go through this list. However, some customers have actually talked to us, and they said that it's a lot of work to actually do monthly or yearly or quarterly vulnerability scans. And because of that, we figured out how to help them in the premium security package. So here we would provide you monthly proactive report. What we do is that we are using security tools to scan your containers in the runtime in our PaaS environment. And then we look through your reports monthly, and then we give you a guidance for the critical and high vulnerabilities every month with actionable steps. So you don't just get a blanket list and then do whatever you would like to do. We actually tell you to which version you need to update to in order to fix those vulnerabilities. In case the issue is in Liferay DXP, then we would provide you a proactive patch, so you can actually patch your application with a hotfix, so you don't necessarily need to upgrade or update your system, but you can actually update just to address those vulnerabilities. And the other very big portion of this offering is that several customers of us have their own security testing tools. They are running the security tests on our source code. They are running the tests they are running a DDoS test, or they are running a penetration test. What happens usually is that they found tremendous amount of false positives, and then it becomes a lot of mundane task for the security team to actually validate those reports. So our support team can help our customers with individual vulnerabilities to understand if we can fix those. However, these false positives are inefficiencies in the security scanning tools because they haven't been able to identify those vulnerabilities. So in the regular services, we don't provide help for our customers because it's not scalable. But under the premium security offering, we are here, and we are actually scaling the team to make sure that we are doing the administrative work of vulnerability scan report parsing, and then you actually get an actionable report based on your vulnerability scan. So we can actually give you insights about your own reports as long as your tool provides us the necessary information to process. So this is just an example of how our monthly report would look like. I copy-pasted some parts of a test report. In this test report, we chose a very outdated test environment where the backup service had 8 critical and 35 high vulnerabilities. So we actually recommended this test customer to deploy a newer version. What is also important here is that this test customer had an open VPN service, which was custom and was not provided by Liferay. So for them, we couldn't tell how to solve because it was their development team who developed it, who prepared that image. So we just recommended them to update a custom image. However, in the document, we provided them details and insights about the vulnerabilities so they could make a well-educated decision of what is next, where they would need to update, and what they would need to update to. So this is what I wanted to share today. I wanted to emphasize that Liferay is here to help, either a self-service way, and you can look up information on our website, in our customer portal, or we would like to help you by augmenting your security team and help you by using this premium security package. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Zsolt, for this great insight. I know we are slightly over time, but we do have a couple of questions from our audience, so we could quickly run through that. So the first question, if we run our own vulnerability scans, how does the Liferay team help prioritize and address what we find?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So if you are running your own vulnerability scans, then what would happen is that you can submit that, and if you have the premium security package, then the support team will actually forward that report to the security team, and then you will get an actionable report, actionable insight report for you. We also show you where are the false positives, so you can go back to the security team, for example, if the development team opened the question, and then the security team can actually see why those issues are false positives, so they can close those issues out.
Thank you, Zsolt. I think we can take one more question. I think it's probably from a customer. Is the Premier Security offering available for on-prem customers or ones who run their own cloud?
Mm-hmm. Currently, the premium security package is only available for our advanced customers. However, we are actually looking into how we can extend it for our other customers as well, because we see the need for our customers to be protected. Some of our customers are attacked weekly. They are receiving a huge DDoS attack almost a week, and it's quite costly for our customers to set up the DDoS protection, set up the 24/7 team to make sure that they can react, finding those tools, procuring these AI-based machine learning tools and other things. So we would like to help our customers. We are successful if our customers are successful, and this is why we would like to increase the coverage. But as of now, it's only available for Liferay PaaS.
All right, great. So thanks for that. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of today's session. As I mentioned earlier, the session recording will be available for you to revisit and share with your team later. But if we didn't get to answer your questions, don't worry, we will follow up afterwards. But from everyone at Liferay, thank you again for joining us today. And yeah, we will see you in our next Solution Showcase session. Thank you.